Hollywood hasn't seen a scandal explode like this in years, and tonight, we're not just talking about a career-ending headline. We're talking about a firestorm that swallowed up Shannon Sharpe's future, ignited a cultural battlefield, and dragged none other than Monique straight into the center of the chaos. The words fired over a white girl aren't just a whisper anymore, they're a trending topic. It's a weaponized hashtag, and the spark that has set social media ablaze. And now, Monique has broken her silence. And what she just said might burn the last remaining bridges in this already scorched industry. This isn't some random celebrity beef. This is bigger, deeper, and messier than anyone dared imagine. We're talking leaked texts, whispered phone calls, and a behind-the-scenes clash that insiders say has been brewing for months, long before Shannon's final incident hit the headlines. Monique isn't tiptoeing around the truth either. Her words are sharp, direct, and laced with an anger that feels personal. Fans are split right down the middle. Some are calling her the voice of reason. Others, they're accusing her of pouring gasoline on a fire that could engulf more than just Shannon's career. And the worst part, multiple insiders are now claiming this so-called white girl isn't just a random fling, but someone with a secret connection that could change the entire narrative. If what's about to drop is true, this isn't just the end of Shannon's job, it could be the end of his public image forever. And Monique's promising receipts, it started as a whisper. It's a kind of vague industry gossip you hear in passing, but don't quite take seriously until it explodes across every feed in America. Just after midnight on Thursday, a cryptic tweet from a verified sports insider popped up. 5 simple words that sent the internet into meltdown. Shannon's out. Love isn't blind. By sunrise, the machine was in full swing. Gossip blogs blasted headlines like Shannon Sharpe fired over white girl drama, while sports news anchors danced around the topic with loaded phrases like off-camera issues and contract complications. The network's official statement was short and bloodless. After thoughtful discussions, both parties have agreed to part ways, but the internet could smell the truth. This wasn't about contract negotiations. It wasn't about creative differences. Inside sources started leaking just enough to keep the flames alive. One described repeated conversations between Shannon and network executives about a personal relationship that was making certain people uncomfortable. Another claimed there had been a situation at a private gala weeks earlier that didn't reflect well on the brand. Then came the photo, a grainy, flashlit snap from that very gala, showing Shannon seated next to a tall, blonde woman in a shimmering silver dress, leaning in toward him with a laugh. At first, the image was harmless, two adults talking at a public event. But within hours, social media detectives had pulled video from the same night. In it, Shannon leans in close, whispers something in her ear, and she tilts her head back, laughing, innocent. Maybe, but when framed under the headline, "This is what he risked it all for," the internet decided it WASN single quotes too. By mid-morning, the words fired over a white girl were trending. Memes exploded. Old interviews were dug up where Shannon had spoken about his dating preferences, now dissected and repackaged as evidence in the court of public opinion. And while some fans defended Jim, insisting this was overblown, others dragged him relentlessly. That's when Monique's name started bubbling to the surface. The Oscar-winning actress and comedian, who's never been one to bite her tongue, had been quiet through the first wave of gossip. But according to someone in her circle, she was watching. Monique doesn't jump into mess for no reason, the insider said. She's about to speak, it's because she knows something. Flah. And speak she did. Midnight afternoon, Monique went live on Instagram, no makeup, hair wrapped, glasses low on her nose, the energy of a woman about to preach. She didn't name names at first, but she didn't have to. Sometimes babies, she began. You've got to ask yourself, what are you willing to throw away for somebody who's not willing to lose anything for you? The comments section exploded instantly. Is she talking about Shannon? Monique spilling tea? Here we go. She went on, "See, some of these brothers will risk their platform, their reputation, their everything for somebody who wouldn't stand next to them if they didn't have the spotlight. And when the fallout comes, they want to act like it's a surprise." Fans screen recorded the live before it even ended. Within minutes, Twitter was flooded with clips. One fan wrote, "Monique is basically confirming the rumors without saying his name." Another posted, "She's seen something behind the scenes. She's not guessing." That same evening, a blog dropped a supposed insider leak alleged text messages between Shannon and a close friend. In one, Shannon appeared to write, "They're making this bigger than it is. She's just a friend. I can't believe I'm losing everything over optics." In another, they warned me. Thought it'd blow over? Whether the messages were real didn't matter. In the social media arena, perception is king. And this was painting Shannon as a man who had knowingly rolled the dice, but then came the twist no one was ready for. One particularly notorious gossip site claimed the woman in question wasn't some random love interest at all. She was allegedly connected to a rival media personality who had been eyeing Shannon's position for months. According to this exclusive, she'd been in those circles for a while. And there were whispers she may have been part of a larger move to undermine him. Now, the story wasn't just about scandal, it was about sabotage. The theory took on a life of its own, with armchair detectives piecing together Instagram tags, event photos, and mutual follows. A timeline started circulating, showing how the woman had attended multiple industry events in the months leading up to Shannon's firing, often in the same orbit as his professional rivals. And here's where Monique's comments began to feel less like gossip and more like warning shots. She jumped back on Instagram the next morning, this time with a sharper tone. "If you keep dancing with the devil, don't be shocked when you end up in hell," she said. "And some of y'all are so busy looking at the pretty face that you don't see the dagger in her hand." Fans went wild. "She's definitely talking about the sabotage theory," one tweeted. "Monique knows the whole playbook." Another replied, "This is the real reason Shannon's people are shook. Monique is basically telling us this wasn't an accident." By the end of the week, the situation had mutated into three competing narratives. Shannon Sharpe was fired over a consensual relationship that looked bad. The network. The woman was linked to a rival who used the situation to push him out. Both were true, and Shannon had walked into a trap he'd been warned about. And through it all, Monique's voice kept echoing, cryptic but cutting, hinting at more. In one last live before the weekend, she said, "Babies, I've got receipts. Not gonna drop them today, but if these lies keep flying, don't think I won't." Her followers lit up the comments. "Drop them now. We're waiting. Mo, don't hold back." The tension was unbearable. Was Monique bluffing? Was she protecting Shannon by holding back war, waiting for the perfect moment to end him? Either way, the internet knew one thing. Whatever Monique was sitting on had the potential to not only confirm the rumors, but blow them wide open. And if the whispers about the rivals' connection were even halfway true, we were looking at one of the most calculated takedowns in sports media history. And somewhere in the middle of it all, Shannon was silent, watching the narrative spin out of his control, knowing that the next words out of Monique's mouth could either clear his name or bury it forever. By Monday morning, the tension had gone from simmer to a rolling boil. Monique's last Instagram live had racked up over 3 million views in less than 48 hours. And every blog, sports, podcast, canned gossip channel was dissecting her every word like it was a prophecy. Shannon Sharpe still hadn't spoken directly about the scandal, but the silence was starting to look less like strategy and more like surrender. His last tweet, posted days before the firing, was still pinned at the top of his feed. A motivational quote about perseverance. Fans filled the replies with demands for answers. Blink twice if Monique's telling the truth. Are you going to address this or nah? And she's about to destroy you, bro. Meanwhile, Monique seemed to be enjoying the suspense. She posted a boomerang of herself sipping tea in a plush robe, captioned, "Patience, babies. The truth has a schedule." It was casual, but everyone knew she was talking about Shannon. Then came the first slip. Monique appeared on a popular morning radio show to promote an unrelated project, but of course the host had to bring up the elephant in the room. "Mo, people are saying you've got inside info about the Shannon Sharpe situation," the host said with a grin. "You holding out on us? Holding out on us?" Monique smiled slowly, like she'd been waiting for the question. "Let's just say," she replied, "when a man gets warned by multiple people about a situation, and he still walks into it like it's Sunday service, you can't cry foul. When the choir starts singing..." The studio went quiet for a moment before the host asked, "So, he was warned?" Monique didn't answer directly. She just tilted her head, sipped her coffee, and said, "Some lessons you pay for in cash. Others, you pay for in reputation." That was all it took to send Twitter into a frenzy. The trending hashtag he was warned was born within the hour, with fans flooding timelines with theories about who had warned Shannon, when, and why he ignored them. The next leak hit later that afternoon. A gossip blog posted what it claimed were internal network emails, blurred names, but with enough context to send shockwaves. In one, an executive referred to reputational risk associated with Mr. Sharpe's ongoing entanglement. Another mentioned prior advisories to maintain professional distance. If the emails were legit, they backed up Monique's hint perfectly. Shannon hadn't just been caught off guard. He'd been explicitly told to stay away, and he'd ignored it by Tuesday morning. The woman at the center of the scandal, still unnamed in official coverage, broke her silence. In an Instagram story with a soft filter and dramatic background music, she wrote, "Funny how people think they know the truth. Stay tuned." She didn't tag anyone, but she didn't need to. Every gossip page reposted it with captions like, "Is this the white girl in the Shannon Sharpe drama?" Monique wasted no time firing back without ever saying the woman's name. "Sometimes the main character in the mess thinks she's the director," Monique tweeted. "But baby, you're just an extra in someone else's downfall." The internet lost it. The tweet was screenshotted and posted on Instagram, where the comment section became a war zone. Team Monique supporters called her a queen for keeping the pressure on, while others accused her of bullying. Inside Shannon's camp, the mood was reportedly grim. According to an insider close to his PR team, they'd been crafting a controlled narrative for him to share until Monique's latest moves blew it to pieces. "She's not just talking," the source said. "She's timing her comments to hit right when we're trying to pivot. It's like she's 2 steps ahead." Wednesday, Monique took it up another notch. She went live again, this time with a thin manila envelope sitting in front of her. "I've been seeing the comments," she said, her tone low and deliberate. "Y'all think I'm bluffing? Y'all think I'm making this up for clout? Well, babies, clout don't come in an envelope, receipts do." The comments section exploded. People begged her to open it, to read it, to show it on camera. But Monique just tapped the envelope with her index finger and said, "Not yet. Timing is everything. And trust me, the clock is ticking." Meanwhile, another twist emerged, one that connected directly to the sabotage theory. A blog claimed that the unnamed woman had once been seen having lunch with a rival sports personality just weeks before Shannon's firing. The photo was blurry, but the resemblance was strong enough to fan the flames. The blog's caption read, "If this is what it looks like, this isn't romance's strategy." Fans started connecting dots that may or may not have been real. Threads popped up claiming the woman had been following the rival on Instagram for years, that she'd liked certain posts criticizing Shannon, and that she had moved in the same circles as the rival's producers. Monique fanned the flames, again without ever confirming the theory outright. "Some women are pretty poison," she said in a clipped video on her IG feed. "They'll make you feel good while they're building your coffin." By Thursday, Shannon's silence was becoming untenable. Even some of his allies were starting to distance themselves. One former colleague tweeted, "If you don't control the story will control you." It read like advice, but fans interpreted it as shade. That same evening, an anonymous email hit the inbox of a well-known gossip YouTuber. The sender claimed to have screenshots of DMIs between Shannon and the woman, messages that hinted at secret meetings, coded language, and late-night rendezvous. The YouTuber teased the leak in a live stream but said they were verifying the material before releasing it. It didn't matter. Just the threat of those DMs was enough to make the internet go feral. And Monique, she responded with a single, cryptic tweet. "When the rain starts, don't be surprised if I bring the thunder." By Friday morning, everyone knew we were heading for a collision. Monique had the envelope. The YouTuber had the alleged DMs. The woman at the center was teasing her own truth. And Shannon, who was boxed in, with the walls closing tighter every hour. But the real shock wasn't what we'd already seen, it was what was about to come. Because according to a brand new leak from someone inside Monique's circle, that envelope she kept tapping on camera didn't just have receipts about Shannon's relationship. It had proof that the rival sports personality had been involved from the start. If that was true, then the whole narrative shifted. This wouldn't just be a scandal about a man risking his career for a woman, it would be a calculated takedown, orchestrated step by step, with Monique holding the final piece, and she was about to drop it Friday night. The air online felt heavy, like the moment before a thunderstorm when the clouds turn an unnatural shade and the wind starts whispering secrets. Everyone knew Monique had scheduled an Instagram Live for 9 p.m. sharp. The caption on her announcement post was only 3 words: "It's time, babies." By 8:45 p.m., the waiting room was already past 200,000 viewers. By 8:55, it was 600,000. And by the time Monique appeared on screen, hair laid to perfection, wearing a deep crimson silk blouse, the counter passed the 1 million mark. She didn't start right away. She just sat there looking into the camera, letting the silence stretch so long it became suffocating. Then slowly she reached down and pulled the manila envelope into frame. "I told y'all," she said, voice steady but sharp, "this ain't about gossip. This is about truth. And sometimes the truth is the only weapon you've got when people try to bury you alive." The comments were flying so fast they blurred into a waterfall of text. "Open IT. Let's go. We're ready." Monique slid her finger under the flap. Now, I'm not here to ruin lives for sport, but when a man plays himself and a whole machine is behind making sure you take the fall while the real players walk free, that's when I speak. She pulled out a thin stack of papers. The first page was a printed screenshot of an email chain. "This," she said, holding it up, "is an internal message between the woman y'all been talking about and a producer for a rival sports show. This email is from before Shannon even met her." The live chat exploded. Monique read aloud. It says, quote, "I can get close. He's predictable. When I'm in, we move on phase 2. End quote. Gasps rippled through the audience even though they were watching from screens across the world. She flipped to another page, and this right here. This is the timeline they were working with. Every meeting, every interaction, plotted like clockwork. This wasn't an affair. This was an ambush. The comments section turned into a battleground. Half the viewers were screaming, "Set up, this is a hit job." The other half accused Monique of staging the documents. But it didn't matter. The receipts were too specific, too cold, too damning. Then she dropped the real grenade. "Babies, you want to know who was behind phase 2? This is the part they really don't want out." She turned the next page to reveal a name blurred just enough to be legally safe, but still obvious to anyone familiar with the industry. It was a direct rival of Shannon's, a former NFL player turned commentator who'd been gunning for a slot for years. The name hit like a lightning strike. Twitter went into meltdown mode instantly. Within 5 minutes, Rival's name-caught plotting was trending worldwide. Monique wasn't done. She leaned forward, eyes narrowing. And here's the kicker. That network. They knew. They had these same emails. But instead of protecting their talent, they let the story leak about him and the white girl. Because it was easier to sell scandal than admit they'd been infiltrated. Boom! The live hit 1.5 million concurrent viewers. Screenshots were flying across every gossip account within seconds. Celebrities started chiming in live. One R&B singer commented, "This industry is dirtier than a public bathroom." An NBA player dropped in with, "This is why I don't trust nobody." Shannon, still silent, became the internet's #1 hunted man. Not because people wanted him punished, but because they wanted his side of this new story. If Monique was telling the truth, he hadn't just been reckless. He'd been targeted. Midway through the live, an unexpected twist happened. The woman at the center of the scandal joined the chat. Her username popped up, and the chat went into chaos. Monique paused, gave the camera a knowing smile, and said, "Oh, so you watching? You got something to say, sweetheart?" The woman didn't type. She just sent a single laughing emoji. Monique's tone hardened instantly. "Laugh now, baby. Because when you're done playing your part in somebody else's script, you're gonna realize they wrote you into the scene where you get burned too." Viewers swore they could see the woman leave the chat seconds later. The next blow came not from Monique, but from a hacker group claiming to be fans of hers. They posted what they alleged were more DMs this time between the rival and the network. EXECS discussing narrative control and leveraging personal entanglements. If those DMs were real, it meant the scandal wasn't just entertainment fodder, it was corporate warfare. The rival wanted Shannon out. The network didn't mind losing him, and the woman was the perfect weapon to make it happen. By 10:15 p.m., Monique wrapped the live with a chilling send-off. Now you know. But remember, this isn't the end. This is the first act. And Act 2, that's going to have people running for cover. The live ended, but the chaos I dealed in single quotes to within an hour, every major sports and entertainment outlet was running emergency roundtables. Some tried to discredit Monique, pointing to her history of feuds. Others admitted the documents she showed matched internal leaks they'd also been hearing about, but hadn't been able to verify. Shannon's camp remained silent. But insiders claimed he was deeply considering a lawsuit not against Monique, but against his former network. If true, that would mean a public trial and a treasure chest of discovery documents that could drag dozens of names into the mud by Saturday morning. The scandal had evolved. Was no longer a simple Shannon Sharpe fired over a white girl headline. Now, it was a sprawling conspiracy, seduction, sabotage, corporate politics, and an A-list comedian with nothing to lose calling it out in real time. And Monique, she'd gone radio silent again. No tweets, no lives, just a single Instagram story with a photo of her nails being done, captioned, "Storm's not over." Fans knew exactly what that meant. Act 2 was already loading. And if Act 1 was this messy, Act 2 could take down an entire network. The real question wasn't if she'd deliver it, was how much worse it could get before someone, somewhere, decided this truth was too dangerous to let out. And with Monique holding the final pieces, the countdown to destruction had officially begun. And that, my friends, is where we have to leave it tonight. But make no mistake, this story is far from over. Do you think you've heard the most shocking part already? Think again. Because behind the scenes, bigger names are scrambling, lawyers are lining up, and people who swore they'd never speak are starting to talk. What Monique dropped tonight isn't just gossip, it's a fuse. And it's burning fast. The moment Shannon breaks his silence, or the moment one more leak drops, this thing is going to explode into something so big. The headlines won't be able to keep up. That's why I need you locked in. Hit that like button right now. So YouTube, knows this is the story everyone needs to see. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you believe Monique's receipts? Or do you think she's playing the game too? And most importantly, make sure you're subscribed with notifications on. Because when the next bombshell hits, I'll be here with every angle, every screenshot, and every hidden detail they don't want you to know. We're talking about a story that could shake the sports world, the entertainment industry, and expose how deep the manipulation really runs. Don't let them control the narrative. Stay here, stay ready, and remember, when Act 2 drops, you'll want to be the first to say, "I already knew." Because this is only the beginning.